Now?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm going to pass around the clipboard, and anybody that's interested in getting a badge, go ahead and sign. And anybody that's on Zoom, if you want a badge, let me know, and I'll have them made, and we'll have them at next month's meeting. I'd like to introduce our speaker for tonight. It's Bud Hennessy, AEIBH, our vice president, and he's going to be talking about ClubLog and other type of online logging and spotting and whatever else comes to mind. Bud passed his general, technician, and extra in one day. And he was also Rookie of the Year in 2014 for our club. And we're going to start to resurrect the awards program here. So this December, look for, or perhaps maybe next December, look for some awards to be coming out from the board. Anyway, Bud, it's all yours.
Okay. I guess what I'm going to try and do tonight is show everybody how I use ClubLog. What we've been talking about as a board is utilizing ClubLog in addition to or as a replacement to what used to be the ladder, which was really the top 10 slots in the club of those with the most DXCCs. The kind of thought we've had is that that's a very stagnant list. It doesn't change much over time. And the likelihood of anybody jumping in or replacing somebody in the top 10 is pretty low. So why limit it to top 10? The ClubLog automatically sorts those for those who are registered on ClubLog anyway. And will let us see. And what's kind of cool about it is you can watch each other's progress as you sort of climb the ladder in a number of DXCCs that you accumulate over your ham career, and whether it's the top 20 or the top 30 or the top 50, it doesn't really matter. But we'll be able to see it, and we can link to it directly on our website, so that when you're on the website, the San Diego DX Club website, you'll be able to see the ClubLog link and see what the current ladder status is. And it can actually incite a little competition in between each other. And you can see who's got a few new DXCCs, new confirms, or new worked, and all kinds of other things. It's a really fascinating website that lets you visualize your whole ham radio career, and how many entities you've logged, what modes, what bands, what the propagation was, everything you can imagine. It lets you, if you're a data guy that likes to look at your performance and how you've done over the years, it lets you slice and dice the data in a million different ways, and can be kind of enlightening to see how you've changed over the years. It links nicely with LOTW. It links up with most logging programs, modern computerized logging programs. It won't link up with a paper log if you're using a paper log still. I use both still myself. I write a paper log as well as a computer log. Personally, I use Ham Radio Deluxe just because it's what I started with and got accustomed to it. But all the log programs out there pretty much have a link into ClubLog. And if they don't, you can almost always export a log using the ADIF format, no matter where you've logged it. And ClubLog will import that and let you see how your progress is. So getting hooked up and set up on ClubLog is really easy. It's you just really need to go to the website, sign in, create a username, a password, and you're up and running. and then you either link it, your existing log system to it and have it import from there, or you export your log system to ClubLog, or you can link it up with LOTW and export LOTW directly into ClubLog. So it's pretty flexible in the way you might want to get your contact list into it. And then once you've got, if you go so far as to put LOTW linked up with it, you can always refresh that and have it see your progress with LOTW as far as new confirmations that have come in through their new QSLs. I guess the next thing I need to do is can I share my screen here?
Yes.
So I'm set up to do that.
Yeah. Well, you have to do it.
So if I click on share screen, that'll go.
It should work, yeah.
Okay, well, clicking on it here, and I'm going to click and share my screen 1 and say share.
Yeah,
And did you guys see that?
yeah, you got it.
Okay, so yeah, it says I'm sharing screen 1. So here is, I'm going to go start off here just by going to the settings page. And I presume you guys can see that.
Yes.
Really, when you start off with ClubLog, you just simply go to www.clublog.org, or you can see the link up here and see what it's https :clublog.org. It is completely free. I don't even know if it does take donations. If you want to donate, they'll let you donate. I've never have. Perhaps I should. It's an extremely useful tool. So maybe this will inspire me to donate. Anyway, you basically just create a username, your name, your call sign. You can upload a picture to it if you want. I've never bothered. Give it a password. And with that, they email you back quickly and that you're confirmed and you're in. You can set up your band preferences, what bands you want to play with ClubLog. Pretty much I set up everything that's in the US. I'm not sure if 4 meters is even a thing here yet. Maybe it is. I don't have any equipment that will work on 4, so it's not an issue. And I've never played with 23 or 13 centimeter stuff, so I'm not sure what from a DX perspective that would be useful for, but maybe some people will use it. I see it does have some translation capabilities. Never used any of that. So setting up is really just a matter of your getting a call sign in there, a username and an email address so that they can get it, and you're up and running. Once you've got your account established, you really just need to, well, let me finish setting up here. Here's your basic settings. Here's where you put in your call sign. You can have multiple call signs if that's your situation. Maybe if you've got some call signs where you work from other regions, you can, I'm only a single call sign user, so you can update your grid square coordinates. You can install what club you're affiliated or clubs if you want to have multiple clubs. I'm only affiliated in ClubLog with San Diego DX Club, but it's got quite a large list of clubs, as you can see here, that you can select from. I don't know what this CAS award thing is, something to do with DXpeditions, something, nothing to set up with. And then these other settings for other apps and such. I've never played with any of those other features. So back to the settings, the basic settings. So once you log into ClubLog from a cold startup, once you've got your account set up, the first thing it shows you, well, I guess I should go down here to the bottom and show you where where is it that you update your log, or there's a place where you can upload a log. So if you've got a log on your computer, if you haven't used something like LOTW to import it, or Ham Radio Deluxe, or one of the others where it will automatically export to ClubLog, you can just create a native file from your existing logging program and throw it up in there using this feature here where you're uploading a log into them. So depending on how many of you guys want to go in that way. Once you're in and you've got your log installed into ClubLog or shared into ClubLog, the first item you encounter on the left is a list of all the different things you can do. You'll see your DXCC charts, which lets you look at all of the entities. All 340 of them are on the left side of the screen, and you can look down that whole list and see all of the entities that you've worked over time with different color codings for what you've done. Basically, whether you've just worked it or whether it's been confirmed and then verified through LOTW as actually having been awarded. On any one of those, you can click on one and see the details of that particular entity and what you've done with it. So you'll see what call signs you've worked, the dates, the times, the band, what mode you worked them in, what zone they're in, and what kind of QSL you've got, whether it's confirmed or it's worked and not confirmed, or V for verified via LOTW. So it's pretty convenient way to sort of look down and see all of your band slots for each entity and how well you've covered them. So if you're looking for entities you want to try and work, you can just scroll down there and see which ones you need. And you can also look at other people's call signs. I think you could type any, maybe you can't type a call sign in there. No, you can't study somebody else's. Forget that. If you have multiple call signs you're working from, you can select them from that spot. You can also look at them from the standpoint of what mode, what you've done. Are they just the worked ones, just the confirmed ones, just the verifieds, etc. As well as the date range, if you want to look over what date range you've worked contacts, which is quite useful. As Rob mentioned, we're hoping to resurrect some of the awards that the DX Club has had in the past, such as the Rookie Award, which, as I recall, the criteria for that was a newish member of a club with or without a DXCC under their belt, and assuming there are multiple newish members of the club, the award goes to the one who, for any given year, who worked the most unique DXCCs in a given year. And so, of course, when you're kind of new to DXing, you can rack up a pile of them in a year. As time goes on, it gets a lot harder to get a large quantity of new DXCCs in a year. So there is a section of ClubLog here for satellite charts, which is satellite contacts. I've not played with it, but those who do a lot of DXing via satellite, this provides another functionality. I can't really comment too much on it because I haven't tried it. An interesting functionality is called the timeline, going down the left side here. And this gives you a very interesting pictorial of your ham radio career, if you will. Going back to when you first started or when you first signed up with ClubLog, and it analyzes your entire log and shows you all the contacts you've made, and the bar graphs are relative to whether what contacts you made with data, phone, or CW. And in my case, I found it quite interesting that over the years, when I first started in 2012, ham radio, the PSK 31 was the thing, man. That was what everybody was doing. And so I jumped right in there and started using Ham Radio Deluxe DM 780 digital mode software, and I was racking up all my DX on data mode, 83.6%, and only a little bit of phone and no CW. And as life wore on, and I got more into ham radio, the next year I was 54% phone. Probably got over my mic fright, and started talking to people, and less data, and even experimented with a little CW. The next year, 2014, a whole lot less of everything. I was probably too busy with work, but again, sort of mostly focusing on phone. And then as life continued, and FT8 came out maybe around 2017, 18, thereabouts. The amount of data contacts I was making went up exponentially, as did for a couple of years CW, probably using CW modes to and hitting a lot of contests to try and track down DXCC contacts during contests, which works great for the first few years. After a while, you got your DXCC and you're getting up into the numbers. You find, at least I've found, that contests don't really produce much in the way of new DXCCs. It's pretty much the same guys in all the contests, but definitely a way to get a lot of DXCCs in the early days. And nowadays, I'm almost exclusively FT8, for better or worse. Just all I've made the time for in the recent years. But you can definitely see those years when you spend more time and less time. So it's a fun way to sort of slice and dice your data and analyze how you've progressed. Then you get into another function here where zone charts. I'm going to skip grid squares for a minute here. Grid squares is a map, and if you're tracking grids, you can sort of see the grid squares that you've worked over the years. I've been trying to get all the grids in the US, just especially during COVID. It was something to do. Bands were weak and lots of time on my hands. So let's see if I can't get all the grid squares in the US. But I haven't played with this feature much because I use a different software package for that called Grid Tracker, which is more fun, I think. But you can also look at zones. Where were we? Grid squares, QSL charts, which does similarly to your original DXCC charts, but lets you see, instead of by band, it shows you your contacts by mode, and also recommends some places where you might be able to extract a QSL from somebody where you've not been able to otherwise, using their what they call their OQRS system to send out requests for QSLs. The zone charts does, again, the same thing, but lets you see the world as a function of zones instead of entities, where you've got your 40 zones and what your status is with working with being able to say you worked all zones. I've been missing zone 34, I believe, for years, and I'm not sure that I'll ever get zone 34. It's kind of a tough one over there in Libya, Egypt, Sudan range. Very difficult for my system here to hit that. But I'll show you another technique here in a minute that they do give you a hint, because there's some propagation analysis within ClubLog. But another fun way to look through there and see which zones have been confirmed, which zones have been verified on LOTW. I don't think ARRL has a worked all zone award, but who is it?
CQ Magazine.
CQ Magazine has worked all zone awards. So then you get into your log inspector functionality, which lets you type in a DX call sign and see if you've ever worked that person. Another one I know I worked not too distantly ago with the D2UY guy in Angola, and I can see, look, I've worked him on 15, 17, 12, 10, and 20 meters, but he's only confirmed on 20, and it's probably because I only threw him whatever it was, $5, whatever he wanted for a confirmation once, and I didn't want to keep throwing him $5 bills for every time I worked him on a different mode or band. But that's another way to see if you've worked someone, like any other log search. But you can elaborate on it with all kinds of ways of processing that, date ranges, modes, bands, etc. So not just another way to slice and dice your data. Log matching is a nice tool as well to study through and see different call signs and what bands you've worked them on. I think from a club perspective, the DXCC leagues here lets you select from any number of clubs in the listing. Again, I've got San Diego DX Club listed here, and what bands you want to look at, what modes you want to look at, CW, phone, or data, current and deleteds or current entities only, whether you've just worked them or whether you've confirmed them, date ranges, just the last year, again, the last year being useful if you're maybe angling for the rookie of the year. And once you've selected what you're looking at there, you click on generate the log or generate the league, and it shows you a listing of all the people that are currently in the club and active on ClubLog, which right now the club, I'm not sure what the total membership is, but we only see 26 of club members that are active on ClubLog. What would be good would be able to see that increase. So, and it shows like your call sign will highlight within that list as to where your standing is. So I'm sitting here at position number 15 in the club with 219 confirmed QSOs. If you just want to click it to worked instead of confirmed and regenerate, my position drops to number 16, and I've got 225 worked, as opposed to confirmed. You can also rank it by band, rank by slots, who's worked the most band slots, and so forth. So it's again another way to slice and dice the total contacts within the club. And there are satellite leagues and zone leagues. Again, I haven't played with satellites at all. The zone leagues I haven't played with at all, but again, you generated a zone league. What's the club done? And you can see the total contacts by person within the club. So I guess this is showing 27 club members now, and who's where in the zone search. So you look at confirmed. Other than that, let's see the next things, the leagues. I don't know what the challenges thing is. Club leagues, from what I recollected, was just a listing of all the clubs. As I recall, the San Diego DX Club is ranked in all the clubs at number 64 in the total list of, where are we at? Total list of 147 clubs around the world. So we're kind of right there in the middle with, I believe it ranks it by the number of club members, years active, and the number of DXCCs. Some combination thereof is how the club ranks. You can see here the number one club in the world being the 599 DX Association, whatever that is. And you know why, for instance, the OH DX Foundation with only 19 members in 35 years, how the algorithm is that ranks this, I have no idea. So, again, there's a couple other different leagues, challenges league, super league, uniques leagues. There's a nice DX cluster in here that lets you see what's going on cluster wise. I don't use it, never really played with it much because I use a different tool for a different cluster tool, which I prefer, called DX Summit. And it's the one that I'm most familiar with and use the most. The log search feature is very useful when searching people's logs for like DXpeditions. And again, I'll just type in the one that I know right now, the D2UY, and show the contacts, and you'll get a listing that shows how many contacts, what bands you've made contact with them in. And there's a link where you can request a QSL card from them. If you click that, it then shows you the listing on the bands and the date. You can see that I made a request for my LOTW, and I've not sent the request in for the others because he wants $5 per confirmation. Though he says each additional QSO costs $0. So maybe I'll try and click on it here and make requests for additional confirmations and see if he does. But it is a nice way to be able to get into and get confirmations of your, or request confirmations of your contacts. The call tester, I can't remember what that does. I think it just looks like gives you a test range of dates and times and lets you see if you've worked them or not. Just a variation on a theme from the log search. There, you can also look on here for a list of the most wanted list, the DXCC most wanted list, and see what the current order for that is. Of course, North Korea always being number one, and unlikely for anybody to get. And you can sort through that and see what's there. I guess the ones that are, I they have it this whitelisted function. I'm not sure what that means. Whitelist, it blocks certain QSOs. Not sure what the whitelisting functionality is for, but it's an interesting thing to look at the most wanted list. DXCC analysis I played with. This sort of lets you look at by country what is happening in the DXCC world. I played with this a little bit and went down to look at the US. And I believe it lets you see the US West and East. US, United States is USA. Okay. And then you submit. And this was just showing you sort of the band activity and contacts with the US over the last, looks like 20 years. And what bands were most active on what dates. Haven't found much use for this myself. The one I did find interesting was the propagation. And I think this will be a tool useful to figure out in the future how I might get my zone 34. You can shoot for zone 34 here. You can pick a DXCC entity or zone. And if I went down and said, okay, I want to look at zone 34 and for all months of the year, well, let's just say even just August right now, we're in August, and run a propagation report, what it seems to tell me is that the highest likelihood band looks like maybe 17 meters between the hours of around 2300 UTC might be the best time, maybe, or 12 meters around 1900 GMT to try and aim for a contact there in zone 34. Thought I saw a different way of looking at this. Let's see, propagation. US there, because I saw one that had showed this based on East or West US. I'm not seeing that now. I played with this quite a bit last night. Maybe it was in the DX analysis. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell on it. There's lots of things to play with. It's a fun tool. And then there's lots of ways to get your great circle map for your location. You generate it for your location in the world. Southern California here will show you relative positions to the different countries. It's always an interesting way to see how the world looks from your antenna's perspective. LOTW sync is one of the features that I use all the time on here to update the ClubLog rankings and ensure that it has the latest LOTW confirmations. To do this, you need to first use this tool. Once you're established in ClubLog, you need to go and follow this top of the screen, new to this feature, and please read the getting started guide, which takes you to a new screen, and follow the directions. It's simple, but you got to follow the steps to get ClubLog linked up to your LOTW. And it is simple. but you do have to follow these steps. So I'm not going to go through it here because I'm already linked in with it, but you just go through these steps and it'll hook you up together with it. After which, when you want to download your latest QSOs, you simply click in this middle box. It says download confirmed QSOs from LOTW. You don't need to do any signing. You don't need the certificates. You get that in earlier steps. But all you need to do is you click that. He said, and it will prompt you to enter your password. Even though it has the password listed here, it is not really filled in. You do need to type in your ARRL LOTW password every time and agree to the status or that you're going to let them download that and sync. And it's going to give me an error because I didn't type in my password. And it will come back with a response saying that it's queued the process up, and in a day, in really in a few minutes, it will have everything synced up. So you will see your current LOTW statuses, confirmation statuses listed in there. And it's I don't know how to describe it. It couldn't be much simpler to my way of thinking. It's pretty effective, and you go look at it and there's everything you need to know. But you do need to enter the information. I can't remember what the certificates things was for. You tell it where your certificate is, because everybody that's on LOTW will have a .p12 or a .tvk file in their system. You just have to tell it where to find it. And it will upload it into their system, and then you're up and running. So it's like I said, you really have to follow this guide to go through the whole process to get linked in with it. And it's not hard. It's pretty simple. What else? There is an ADIF differencing function, which I've not used, which lets you upload 2 different ADIF files if you're going to export ADIF files from your computer, and be able to see if there's any differences between them. Not sure what that's used for, really. Haven't tried it. So that's pretty much the long and the short of ClubLog. Going about as fast as I could through it to stay within a reasonable time. Are there questions that people have?
Yeah. We said, Jim.
Hey, bud, this is Jim Casey, said it. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So you mentioned about how to link with the blog post. How about HRD?
Yep.
How do you do it?
Let me go to HRD here. Give me a second to load that up.
You do it from HRD, Jim.
I'm sorry.
You do it from HRD.
Yeah.
You do it from HRD.
Oh, from HRD. Okay.
Yeah, from HRD. I'm going to load HRD here, and it's going to complain that there's no radio turned on. That's okay.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
You just close that window. Fine.
There we go. Okay. Can you guys see that? Yes, it's not connected. So let's see, from what I recall, tools, configure ClubLog. So you go to tools, configure in ClubLog, and you simply upload every time a log entry is added to the logbook. You put in your call sign for, or your email address that's used for ClubLog. You put in your ClubLog password, and you're okay. And every time you add a new contact into HRD, it will automatically upload to ClubLog.
So once it's turned on, it'll keep recording.
Pardon?
Once this function is turned on, it will keep recording, or?
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And do you happen to know whether DX for Windows has a similar function?
What's it called?
DX for Windows. It's what I used to
DX
use-
for Windows. I'm not familiar with that program.
What I used to use, but I still do in company home control. Okay.
But my understanding is almost from watching the video that the creator of ClubLog put out, let's see here. Let's cancel that, minimize that. There's a really good video PowerPoint presentation on YouTube called ClubLog for Absolute Beginners by Michael Wells, G7VJR, which was done in 2021 for the Radio Society of Great Britain convention. And it's about an hour long video.
When the Davises booked their Verbo vacation home, they didn't know about this view.
Just a second, here we go.
It's
It's a 49-minute long presentation that he goes into this guy, Michael Wells, goes into great detail on configuring and using ClubLog, and talks about many of the different logging programs that are supported by it. But according to him, almost every logging program that's out there, it's modern these days, is supported or does support ClubLog. So I would recommend watching this if you're not familiar with ClubLog. It's a well spent 49 minutes or so. There's a pretty good Q&A session at the end of it that people ask some good questions of him. He's reachable and willing and able to answer questions. They've also got a pretty good online crew that will answer emails and questions if you're having troubles with it. So it's a good video to watch. I don't know how to show its URL any better than what's shown here on the recording. Can you guys read that at the top of the screen there, the YouTube address?
So I have sort of this one kind of devil's advocate question, but I mean, I'm very familiar with HRD and with Logbook of the World. So what value added is there for me to have my DX log or
Well, it gives you the club link. So basically the latter is how, as we were hoping to do, rather than some sort of clunky manual approach to people calling in to some designated person, what their count is or confirmed count or worked count, and some person trying to maintain a spreadsheet. If you're just linked to ClubLog, it's all automated. And so the club ladder can be, essentially automated, and not just the top 10, but the top however many people are in the club. and each person can watch their own progress, relative to other members of the club, and just trying to sort of simplify and automate more of these things that someone used to do manually. And the only way they got their data was if someone happened to call them and let them know what their current confirmed or worked or whatever their status was on their total count. So we figured, well, in trying to simplify things as the club running in terms of running the club, let's standardize on something that everybody can access and upload their logs to, and automatically have the ladder take care of itself.
But we have many members that are on a roll or work them all.
Yeah.
And they've done it in the past, and I doubt they will go back and add to the ClubLog number.
Yeah.
Our club has 80 some members, and what do you have, 26 or something that are on ClubLog?
Right. Exactly.
So I don't know that that's ever gonna change. You're never gonna capture the people that have already done it all. And I think that we should probably maintain the ladder concurrent with the ClubLog in the newsletter or on the log or on the website. Yeah, because many of the club members, matter of fact, the majority are not on ClubLog. Now, I'm one that's not on ClubLog only because there were too many choices, and I never got around to doing it. I mean, it has to be simple. It has to be binary for me, yes or no. And so I never got it. The other question I had, that was my comment. My other question is, how often do they update the country list? A few years ago in the Caribbean, they split out Curacao and Bonaire and blah, blah, blah. How often do they update the country list? Is it whenever the ARRL changes the country list, they will update it, or is there some delay?
Whenever something happens. Politically.
Yeah, I have no idea how often they do it. It might be a question to pose to them. I mean, their total country list is here in the most wanted, I presume. It's is it all 340? Let's see. That's all 340. There's this column called whitelisting, which I'm not sure exactly what that means. I have to read about it. It's got when you click on it, it pops open another page. But so yeah, it shows all 340 of them here. As to how it ranks them, I don't know. In terms of most wanted, there must be it says information generated in this report is derived from QSOs uploaded to ClubLog. Most wanted charts are rebuilt once per month on average, but it can take up to a year for expeditions to influence the rankings. And only confirmed QSOs are considered. Might be a question to ask those who run the system.
Something has to happen in the world. I mean, you don't get a new country. Oops, I mean, it happens because something's happened in the world. I mean, the whole thing with Curacao and so on is because they're no longer members of Antilles. There's 3 new entities. And so if the ARRL DH advisory committee decides that there's a new island or there's another island in the Pacific that now meets some criteria, becomes a country, so nothing happens every year. Right? I mean,
Well, it's got Curacao listed here as PJ2, ranked 238. So I don't know what else to.
no, I'm just saying it used to be. It was a separate DHCC entity that became an independent country as opposed to part of Netherlands until they started over. So,
What did you say, John?
PJ2, the old PJ2 is deleted, the new one was added.
There's a champion in the XCC, but a lot of it instituted within days.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, because I mean, what's his name? Will go, Mario will go put it on the air. There it is.
No, I mean, ClubLog, it's before anybody.
Yeah, okay.
Any other questions? Comments?
I have a question. One thing it seemed like might be fun with this is you could have, let's say a monthly contest for people, or countries worked or something like that. Does this
Yeah.
lend itself to that sort of thing?
Oh yeah, you can have a monthly contest or a whatever. It lets you. This will let you, assuming people are uploading their logs to the system, it will let you show the a date. Let's see, date filtering lets you go by year, past year, the year before, last 12 months. I thought it let you actually specify a date range, but I'm not seeing that here. If we go to club leagues, nope, not there. XCC club leagues. Yeah. No, maybe not. You might not be able to specify it down to a small yeah, it just lets you do the current year, the past year, and the last 12 months. No, you couldn't like specify over the last month as an analysis window.
Second question, I don't have any of my, other than my data for the last six months in any electronic log, because most of the contacts were made in the 80s and the 90s. Is there a way to manually put some of this stuff in? Not necessarily that I'd want to, but
You'd have to enter them manually into some other logging program, and then create an ADIF file and upload it, or have the logging program forward your entire log. Or LOTW, if you've manually entered them into LOTW somehow, you could then upload you can have it link your LOTW account to it and import all your contacts that way.
You enter them in. You can enter them one by one if it's EQSL. I didn't know that, but somebody pointed it out to me recently, and then they automatically go up to LOTW. Any questions?
Yeah, so EQSL would be able to link it to this. I haven't used EQSL much of recent. I used to upload everything to EQSL and LOTW.
CQSL, not
Okay, the EQSL.
yeah. But I had a question. I've seen a couple of the expeditions lately where they want you to verify through ClubLog.
Right.
I'm wondering, maybe I haven't taken it far enough along, but how does that relate to getting the confirmation that Logbook of the World is?
But that's that's using that OQRS system of theirs, where you I think it's really, you're doing it within the log, or where was it? The log search, where you're trying to see a specific contact or specific DX or DXpedition, and so you can request the QSL card. Through you've checked to see that you've worked them. And they'll show you the list of things you've worked, and then you can go in there and request the QSLs from them.
So they have to actually send you a QSL card, and it's not electronic.
Well, they'll do the some of these guys are charging nowadays for confirmations on LOTW.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they'll tell you on some of these DXpeditions that we'll confirm everybody on LOTW in the coming year.
Yeah.
But if you'd like your confirmation in the next week, send us some dollars, and we'll confirm on LOTW more quickly for you.
Well, that's fair. It costs $1,000.
Yeah. And I've used this. I've sent these guys $1 or $2 or $5, whatever they want, from time to time, especially the ones that are not likely to be in a place that I'll work in the future again. And it's worked okay. And I don't mind throwing a few bucks at these guys. They've spent a lot of effort to be there, so doesn't bother me.
Any other questions? Bud, thank you very much. That was a very
Okay.
productive talk.
Okay, there are other tools I use, you know, like one of my favorite you know cluster program or website is DX Summit, which I use, especially useful when you have a lot of DXpeditions ongoing, and you can trying to find my other screen here. This one here. Yeah, here's, let me find this one little screen here. Put it over here. And then I can minimize that one. So DX World, of course, has their sort of famous little blurb, which shows all of the current DXpeditions that they're tracking. And you know, you can click on each one of these and see who's there. That's Bonaire, that's a pretty common one. Polynesia, French Polynesia, Greenland, Iceland, etc. None of these particularly rare. But what's convenient is you can use this as a tool to see the latest DXpeditions, and then you know, look for more information about it, what the call sign is going to be. So you know, here's the C21 TS that started up a week or so ago in Nauru. And then you can go to DX Summit though and put in that, what was it again? It was C21 TS. And I've had fun doing this, where you set up within DX Summit C21 TS. And so now you're only looking at for what band slots C21 TS is using. Well, you can queue this up with a whole pile of here's TF/PF3 in Iceland, TF/PF3 hex. What's it again? TF/PF3 hex. So you can link up a whole bunch of filters within the DX Summit, so that when you're looking at the cluster on that, you're only looking at the call signs of interest for DXpedition chasing. And you can go further and say, well, I want to filter by mode, digital or phone or CW, specific bands you might be interested in, and create a very specific filter set for your cluster. And it will remember that day in and day out. And you can come in each day and sort of see, well, what times a day are these guys active on what bands, and set up your hunt to go track down the DXpeditions of interest by studying their operating patterns within the cluster tool. So I found this to be quite a useful feature, the DX Summit cluster tool. When hunting for these DXpeditions. And then, of course, if you're playing around with 6 meters, I'd find the good old DX Maps is a wonderful tool to see what's happening in the world of communications, to visualize what's happening where. works particularly well on 6 meters. And predictably, it's 6 meters in the US, continental US at the moment is dead. So pretty much worldwide. But that's a useful tool as well. But anyway, there's lots of online tools for to augment your DX hunting.
Any other questions? Well, thanks again, bud.
Okay.
I have a few housekeeping items here real quickly. It's getting late, and then we'll do a quick roundtable. Bob and Michael, do you want your location on these badges? You didn't fill in your location.
Yeah.
San Diego and San Diego.
Poway.
Oh, Poway.
Sorry, the People's Republic of Poway.
Oh, okay. And Brian, do you want your call? You wrote Brian Roberts. Do you want the full name of your first name you call?
First name to call it.
Okay. What is it? Okay, I think that's it. The Gail and Mike had tentatively asked for December 17th for the Christmas party. We found out that Fiddler's Green, where we've had the party for a number of years, has closed for good. So we have to find a new venue. So if anyone knows of any venues that might be able to handle us, or perhaps here, I don't know.
About the Burning Team right across the street.
Burning Team here in
There's one down in Harbor Island, or Shower Island.
oh, down by the Fiddler's
There's one up. The highway. What's the one that ASW based? What? ASW based, there's a restaurant. No. And I set up a school.
I don't know.
No, that's what they call it. It's a non-core. Yeah, that's kind of. Yeah.
Okay, well, we'll work on that, and hopefully we'll be able to get it all set up by December 17th. I'll pass the mic around for a quick round game here. You're up first. Thank you.
Tim Cassidy, used to go back, one to Japan, got nothing to report, I'm happy to be here.
Any countries?
Really busy. Yeah, probably, I don't know which ones.
That's why you're used to.
Yeah, that's why, you check down on that, yeah. I'm gonna say in one six room, nothing impressive. Hi, Tim, K6 that age. So I worked 3 new band countries on 12 meters today. Israel, Lebanon, and Slovakia. Wow. And conditions were, this is right around 1 o'clock today. It was really good at 12 today. I mean, all of Europe was in until, geez, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Were you on CW or FTA?
FTA. But I mean, signals were just amazing. For those of you that got inconvenienced by my email about the garbage emails I was getting, so I somehow P6ZH at ARL.net, I use the alias. That email got onto a distribution system for U.S. government information, for legit news service. And so, thanks to Bruce, WA 7 BNM, he told me how to contact that outfit, which I did. And they took me off the list, but I got a note back this morning saying they'd taken me off 64 email lists. How the heck that happened? I was getting like a dozen messages an hour. So thanks, that's fun. Okay. For a couple of new grids for FFMA. I was going to mention in Barcroft before he left here, but it's a long story about why this is here. But San Diego DX Club bulletin from June of 1994, 30 years ago. The president of this case executive was JC, who is case exam. So we both go back a long way. In fact, John and I first knew each other as novices back in the.
Hi, Steve Angelo, case they've been having a lot of success on the gray line. Like you said, Europe has been coming in real well. This morning I got surprised when Montenegro called me from Europe. What band? 15 meters. Yeah. And I've gone over 1,400 USO record, and I went over the 1,000 mark on FDA for USO.
Yeah, and let me report my chat has been dark ever since we met at 8 p.m. Lot of these things got it back. Ever since the big storm? Yeah. Yes, CGU, Randy Howell.
Oh, yeah, right.
So happy to be here at my once a year meeting because I like the band that rehearses on Wednesdays. So
Make yourself bigger, you're gonna flash in and out.
Okay.
you're just good to see Mike and Gail up there. They attend my concerts. And along with Jerry, I'm active on the USS Midway and the radio. I'm just showing you. I just started with FDA down special. Still got a lot of work to do.
Randy 86 arrests, I don't even do this month.
Brian and students.
Got to be special.
Oh, you said.
We do have a, three prizes for those who are here. You have to be here at present, you have to be awake to, so next to the group here, I allow two ways you can do this. First name pick, does he want it, does that, it's gotta be he, because Gail's not here. I was hoping Gail would be here. That perfect all the names. There's nobody to fight with her about it. But anyway, so we want the first pick to get the wine bottle, or the first pick to pick whatever he wants, and then second pick gets sent, and third pick. Okay, all right, that's how we'll do it. Gail, I was kind of hoping you were gonna be here, so you could help me out with this, you're having more fun there.
They're in class.
Good, Danny.
And then, WBC accepted yes. Just FT8 and FT4, having fun. I think this morning on was 17, talked to Turkey, San Marino. I don't remember them all. Mongolia, several more. But the band, it's hard luck because the band's excellent. This is 17 meters. Talk about that.
15 and 12 are good too.
15 is still good, yeah.
I only gave you 16, other than John, it's the big excitement.
618, you and I agree that conditions have been fantastic on 12 today. And last night on 17, I saw a couple countries that couldn't get them, but I hadn't seen them before.
We'll go to our online people. Bud, do you have a report?
No report from me. I've been radio inactive for a little while, just busy on other stuff.
Okay, Lou, you're up.
Yeah, well, just one comment. I would like to get that badge or whatever. Nothing really more to report. I've been doing a little more upgrading of the antenna system here.
Bill, if you could unmute and your report.
Hi, sorry I couldn't make it tonight, but nothing to report. Just survived.
Gail and Mike.
Okay, we are en route to Juneau from Haines, Alaska by cruise ship. When we were in, where were we? The last place that we were at, not Skagway, but anyway, we looked at, there was a huge antenna array on the local Radio Shack. They still have a couple of Radio Shacks up here. And we wrote to the guy who came up when we searched for, but we got an answer back, said he was fishing. So we didn't get a chance to talk to him, but we're having a great time up here. The weather is gorgeous. We're gonna hope that continues on with that. And we were expecting rain many days, but we haven't seen any yet, luckily. Hopefully it stays that way. Yeah.
And we're expecting around mid-September to meet again about Visalia, the International DX Conference, and line up some good speakers. So I won't have a report until next month's meeting.
And if you know any good speakers,
Call me.
the expedition leaders or whatever, call Gail.
Okay, good. Thank you. By the way, you weren't on earlier, but we brought forward your request for December 17th for the Christmas party. But Fiddler's Green has closed, so we have to find a new venue. So that's on the docket. Ben, N6MUF, go ahead. Or DJ.
Good evening or good morning here. I've been working with this little job here. It's a QRP rig. I don't know if anybody knows about it. It's called the QCX Mini. It puts out 5 watts, costs $57. I can read you a list that, well, features on it that it's as good as my Flex 6600. It's amazing. It's amazing. And I said $57. I talked to the owner of the company. He took 400 units to Dayton, and he sold them within hours. And I placed an order for a new one. This is a single band 20 meter one. And I ordered a multi-band, and he said, well, there's a little bit of a waiting list, and you had to sign a piece of paper that you were willing to wait for it. When I got home, I signed into his website and looked to see what my number was. I'm going to get this thing probably in 15 months, 15 months. So that's how popular it is. This little one here that I got has sold over 20,000. I don't know if anybody. It's only a CW rig for those that do CW. So he's talking about doing something for a single sideband. I'm in good health. I'm coming to San Diego in September, so I will come to the club meeting like I did last year. I think it was there in November, because I was in Thanksgiving at my brother-in-law's place. So that's about it for me. Nice to see everybody.
Good to see everybody. Thanks for coming. Anything else for the club?
It's plenty big enough.
Yeah, that's a consideration to use this room for the Christmas party.
We have to get a date early on, probably.
Yeah, well, we have to get on it this week or next week. Yeah. Bob, what, Bill had something else?
Was he already on?
Yeah, he was already on.
Oh.
Bill was on. Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming, and I'll close this meeting. We'll see you all next month. And if anyone has any content for the newsletter, send it to our editor. I hope everybody reads the president comment. I spent some time trying to put a thoughtful message together. Oh, before we close, Brian's got his.
I'm gonna have the newest number pick first.
Okay.
I'll reach in there and pick one. Pick your own, go there. Okay, go ahead. What do you got? Tim Cassidy, Whiskey Quebec, 1 to 10. I'm gonna pass. I got Don. I think. Yeah, Don. And 6 ETF. What, please?
What are they doing?
Don, the local red wine, or international beers, or the Smith. Wine is fun. Wine is fun. Wine is fun. That's good. What's the name? Jim, you're one of the oldest members. Yeah, you are. chronologically, it's.
Okay, you have here. Tom, WONI.
Arrow.
Grab what you want.
I think it's either gone.
There's 4 different kinds of here from different countries. You get all, you get all 4. You get all 4. I don't drink that much beer. Well, then take the candy. I'll try. Oh, you're trying all the beers? Somebody help me take them out. We'll got it. Right there.
We gotta go, guys. So thanks for,
Have a
we
seat.
mixed up the time zone because we're in a different time zone here. We screwed it up. Sorry. See you next month.
Bob, you're in the candy.
Oh, really? All right, I go for yours. That's you. Thank you very much. Ready them all.
So next month, we should have a real exciting meeting next month. We're gonna have an attorney speaking from Boston about how to get around some of the HOA requirements and antenna restrictions. So it's gonna be a fast moving, exciting talk. So everybody try to make it. So everyone stay well. Hope no one had any damage from the hurricane.
No.
Thank you, Rob. Okay, bye, everybody.